deep to increase circulation.
Alright folks, we've returned. Let's start Chapter 2 of Shear Murder, Case 5, and Mysteries of the Past.
It's you. Stanley Steamer is the first carpet cleaning service certified asthma and allergy friendly. It's our new standard of cleaning.
I am as eager as you are to get to the bottom of the willful destruction of police evidence, Matthew, but the Commissioner insists solving Maximilian Poe's murder is our highest priority.
I would get one wing for the past. I love the taste of
Unfortunately, we are at a bit of a stalemate. Marshal Matthew, my conscience will not allow me to remain silent any longer. I'm the one who killed Maximilian Poe. Father Donovan, you're confessing to Mr. Poe's murder? Murder? I thought he committed suicide. You are not making any sense. Matthew, escort the Good Shepherd to the interrogation room so we can sort this out.
Shop the sales season just for 30% off hundreds of holiday gifts. Now through December 24th. Only at Sales, the Diamond Store.
Father Donovan, I insist you explain yourself. Did you or did you not kill Maximilian Poe? Metaphorically speaking, I thought I had. I was teaching my weekly penmanship class at the Children's Mission when I heard the dreadful news. I immediately assumed Max had taken his own life in despair, that I had failed in my duties as a man of God. Maximilian had been seeking my spiritual counsel since the death of his wife. He wasn't getting any better and I feared for his well-being. I can assure you, Father Donovan, what happened to Maximilian Poe was not self-inflicted. Such a tragic end. They started out so happy together, so much joy. Perhaps now, after all that's been suffered, they can be at peace now. Be at peace together. Father Donovan, I hope you aren't suggesting that a man's murder is a good thing. Heavens, no. I was merely trying to find solace in this darkest of hours. Now I must return to the church and pray. If you don't mind, Father Donovan, Marshal Matthew will come along. If Mr. Poe was a regular visitor at the church rectory, we'd be wise to have a look ourselves.
Great for kids to stream scary shows while not cleaning their room. You'll also get our exclusive 2-hour arrival window. Monday night 17, there's no contract to sign. Get 50 meg internet with no data cap starting at $29.99 a month and receive a free speed upgrade to 100 megs, plus access free TWC Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. Would Rex pass up more beef stew? I don't think so. Say yes to more. Call now. Can't get enough NCIS.
Here's where it gets interesting.
Catch the NCIS Season 13 Marathon. It all starts Saturday at 11 a.m.
I got all the stars in the bonus scene. So let's see if I remember where everything is.
Did you actually lawyer up for Ray Bevins?
You needed an attorney.
So you called one of the best defense attorneys in town? Usually you get a confession instead of throwing up roadblocks to protect the pearls.
Ray Bevins is not a pearl.
He killed a man in cold blood.
He killed the sexual predator that you said we couldn't kill.
I will not condone vigilantism.
Pile of books.
I am not going to let my compassion for Ray prevent me from doing my job.
Why did you know that I arrested him?
There we are, 6 seconds.
Extreme emotional disturbance. He snapped when he found out his daughter's rapist would go unpunished for his crime. For someone who snapped, your client was thinking clearly enough to obtain a weapon, locate the defendant, and execute him. So it's not temporary insanity.
You know the EED statute was designed to downgrade murder charges when they are mitigated by the defendant's severe psychological...
Any noteworthy clues, Matthew? That pile of books is clear evidence that Father Donovan is quite messy, but I'm not sure how it pertains to this case. However, if you want to rummage through it, I shan't stop you. But this is a memorial photograph for the victim's wife, Valeria. That fellow in the photograph is not Maximilian Poe. Perhaps you can find a match in the public records, Matthew.
I'm at the club. Said I had an appointment with Harry and waited in his office. And what happened after that? Harry walked in. I confronted him with Vanessa's
Okay. Got the 9. Vincent Lorenzo. You found a match on that photograph at Concordia Customs Records. That man is Valeria's brother, Vincent Lorenzo. It appears the victim's brother-in-law arrived from Italy 2 weeks ago. We'd be wise to talk to Mr. Lorenzo and find out what he's been up to.
Ray's emotional pain is genuine, and the cause for his mental trauma is legitimate, but I don't buy his affirmative defense.
Why the hell not? This is a man who's lost his daughter.
Well, despite his emotional distress, he had the presence of mind to carefully plan this murder. He knew right from wrong.
He knew nothing. This is a guy drowning in grief.
Ray made clear,
Not his brother-in-law.
deliberate choices. He forced Perry out into that alley and symbolically reenacted his daughter's rape and murder.
Vincent Lorenzo, Marshal Matthew would like to ask you some questions about Maximilian Poe. My sister's husband? What about him? I'm afraid we have grave news, Mr. Lorenzo. Your brother-in-law has been found murdered. Murdered? Maledizione! First Valeria, and now this? Is Concordia cursed? I assure you it is not. You've been here for a few weeks, Mr. Lorenzo. Did you meet with Mr. Poe? That was my plan. I sailed from Italy as soon as I learned of the death of my sister. Valeria was so happy with her new life at Concordia. She wrote me such fancy letters. I learned calligraphy so I could write back. But now she's gone. And after coming all this way, I haven't even seen Maximilian Poe. I was too sad to face him. All I have left is that picture and clothes that smell like mothballs after the long journey. We would ask that you stay in Concordia, Mr. Lorenzo, until this matter has been cleared up.
But you still have the gun. What are we going to do next?
Shoot myself so that I can be with my daughter.
Thank you for the questions. You blame Perry Williams for your daughter's death.
He raped Vanessa, and that's why she killed herself.
Sound very certain. But Vanessa was emotionally unstable.
A scrap of paper.
Mr. Donovan should say
I stand corrected, Matthew. That scrap of paper you found amongst those books is stained with blood. A worthy clue.
He lowered himself.
Let's send this paper to Viola. There's but the slimmest of chances, but maybe this blood belongs to our victim.
As far as you knew, there was quite a bit about her life that Vanessa did not tell you. Did she tell you that she had been sexually assaulted? So her relationship with Perry Williams
12 hours?
could have been consensual, and
I will get the results tomorrow. For now, this is
you
Matthew.
called Lisa rapist, but
See you
had
then.
no evidence.
Alright, folks, you've returned. Let's get the results of the scrap of paper. Did you find anything of note from that scrap of paper, Viola? Undoubtedly, I took a sample of that blood and can confirm the type matches the victim, meaning that paper was discarded by the killer. Good show, Matthew. Now I've had Evie look at those numbers. The numbers indeed. What did you find, Miss Holloway? Well, I'm rather squeamish when it comes to blood, Matthew, so I did my best to work around that. The sequence meant nothing at first, but then I identified the torn symbol, and voila, it's the emblem of the New Haven Hansom Cab Company. Hansom Cabs? A recently established company with a fleet of horse-drawn carriages, catering mainly for Concordia's wealthier residents. This paper is a fragment of a receipt for a hansom cab ride in New Haven. A rather handsome clue, Matthew. We're looking for a killer who uses hansom cabs. That's a new one. We're developing a clearer picture of both our killer and our victim, Matthew, but we need more evidence. It's obvious that Mr. Poe was not a happy man seeking medical and spiritual guidance on a regular basis. I'm inclined to agree, Matthew. If the victim was paying frequent visits to the doctor's office, it's probably worth another look. I'm going with Ace first. That's a partner, of course, and it looks like I already see a clue. Broken device. Doctor's bag. That locked doctor's bag must belong to Dr. Jones. I'm loath to pry into someone's private belongings, but perhaps it contains something relevant to this case. And this appears to be a broken device of some description, Matthew. We will need to put it back together to work out what it is. Looks like binoculars. What the devil is this contraption, Matthew? That plaque says it belonged to the victim, but besides that, I'm at a loss. These are exactly the newfangled gadgets that Charlie loves to play with. Let's have him look at this device. $12 as well. K3Y, 4ND, P1L. There we go. Well, that's kind of self-explanatory, now that you think about it. Matthew, is that a death certificate inside the doctor's bag? The certificate is for Valeria Poe, the victim's wife, but some of the details are obscured. Let's dust it off, post-haste. There was nothing more I could have done. You revealed a message written by Dr. Jones on Valeria's death certificate. There was nothing more I could have done. Keen observation, Matthew. This message was written in calligraphy. Add that to the doctor's profile. But for now, let us go ask the good doctor about this certificate. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Ezekiel Jones is the one who killed Mr. Poe, too. Marshal Matthew, you just caught me in time. I was about to hop into a hansom cab to get my suits to the laundry. They're beginning to smell like mothballs. How can I help you? We'd like you to explain this message you wrote on Valeria Poe's death certificate. Ah, yes. I probably should have told you about that. The truth is, as time passed, Mr. Poe's sadness turned to anger. He eventually started to blame me for Valeria's death. Poe demanded to see his wife's death certificate. It was nothing more than a tragic case of a young woman with a respiratory condition, but he refused to believe me. And someone like Poe accusing you of negligence could have destroyed your practice, could it not? What are you insinuating? I have nothing to hide. My patients trust my skills as a physician. My reputation is above reproach. I do hope you're telling the truth, Dr. Jones. If Marshal Matthews discovers you were involved with Mr. Poe's murder, your next posting will be in the prison infirmary. He just put himself in the running. I'll let the unknown device run its course. I'll have all the stars collected. Yep, I got the cat equipped. I'll see you guys then. Alright folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the unknown device. You've outdone yourself this time, Matthew, bringing me that device. We're happy to have indulged your enthusiasm, Charlie, but what is it exactly? This is a stereoscope, a new device that allows someone to look at a three-dimensional photograph. I've seen them in the camera shops, dreadfully expensive. Three-dimensional photographs? What the devil are you talking about? Two almost identical images are placed side by side into the device. Because each image has a slightly different perspective, the lenses manipulate the light, giving the image depth. It's ingenious. There have been stunning developments in photographic technology, Matthew. This is almost as exciting as those spectacular moving pictures. This is all marvelously fascinating, but how is any of it relevant to Mr. Poe's murder? Ah, this stereoscope was hiding a secret. Inside the viewer, I found this photograph, which must have been the last image Poe was looking at. Great Scott, Matthew, and I do mean that literally. That's a picture of Mr. Poe's kitchen hand, Audrey Scott, and she appears to be getting dressed. This is a rather delicate matter, but I'm afraid we have no choice but to ask Miss Scott about this.
Medical tape and gag her with a white rag. Fortunately, she escaped.
About the stereoscope photo?
She was able to get loose or free herself.
Miss Scott, would you care to tell us about this photograph? It's quite, how would you call it, risque? Good heavens, where did you get that? Put it away at once. We found this photo inside Mr. Poe's stereoscope. I knew that Master Poe had an interest in me, but I didn't know it had gone that far. An interest in you? There was nothing untoward going on. Master Poe was acting with complete honor, but it was clear that he was starting to develop feelings for me and didn't know what to do with them. As time passed, there were moments where he seemed happy again, when his grief wasn't so strong. I was flattered, of course, but it made me feel rather awkward. It wouldn't have been proper, a man of his standing with a servant girl like me. I smell like mothballs, for goodness sakes. I wanted him to stop, but who was I to say anything? It wasn't my place to make trouble. Well, I do hope you haven't landed yourself in more trouble than you were trying to avoid, Miss Scott, or immodest pictures will be the least of your worries.
Authorities combed the area for a man and a car that fit the woman's description. A check of motor vehicle records indicated there were many white cars with a...
Painful grief seems to be central to this case, Matthew. Broken hearts are a powerful motive for murder. The victim's brother-in-law, Vincent Lorenzo, traveled halfway across the world to say goodbye to his darling sister. While Maximilian himself, though broken with grief, angrily blamed Dr. Jones for his wife's death. It should be noted, however, that the victim was also starting to feel affection for his kitchen hand, Audrey Scott. It's a baffling case, Matthew, but they often are when matters of the heart are concerned. Matthew, I've just discovered Maximilian Poe recently changed his last will and testament. He altered the beneficiaries of his estate just 2 days before he was killed.
The driver was 30-year-old Jose Castillon, an orderly at a local nursing home.
We'll see you guys for Chapter 3
I was 2 or 3 seconds. I was
next time. For now, this is Matthew. See you then.